I'm so happy. The whole world is just beginning. We already won. It's about us all. So many beautiful deep divers here. It's a choice. So happy to manifest whatever you want, to be whatever you want. It's a choice. Freedom is a must. We have to become the spoon.
Oh yes, we have to become the spoon. Shout out to everyone who's here. Shout out to everyone who's diving deep. Wonderful deep divers. Shout out to all of you. We got a lot to talk about. But first, let's just, breathing in that good ass prana, baby. Shout out to everyone who's raising the frequency. Shout out to everyone who's raising the vibration. Peace. Infinite waters diving deep once again. Wonderful deep divers, you are appreciated. Once again, we are here. To everyone who's joining us, welcome. The cat down the road welcomes you. Let's always start with gratitude, deep divers. Any video that I start with gratitude. You see, I already made a video, deep divers, but I said, you know what? I'm not even going to put it out. I'm just going to do a live stream. Ever get that feeling, deep divers, where you could put out something, but you're like, right now I want to talk to the people in real time. Can we do that? Shout out to everyone who's been getting the book Feel Alive by Ralph Smart on Amazon and at ralphsmart.com/the book.
Credits received.
Also, the good ass prana shirts, ralphsmart.com/clothes, spreadshirt.com if you're in America. Make sure you smash that like button, deep divers, because we got a lot to talk about. First and foremost, this show is not about me. It's about the people. Holly Reeves, you are appreciated. Excellent tipping point production. Happy to see you reach even more people. That's why I'm doing the live stream, Holly. Because I said, I made a video, I'm like, I could put it out right now. But I said, no, I'm going to be doing more live streams. Because this is the gift of gratitude. When you are grateful,
thank you for your monetary support.
You've got opportunities. When you are grateful, the universe grants you many blessings. One of the blessings is, Ralph, you can come from so many different angles. You can upload videos, or you can go straight direct to the deep divers. Because sometimes I make videos, deep divers, you're like, Ralph, I want to talk to you in real time. I got to ask you about what you just said. So now you can ask me. Now you can ask me in real time. We're going to have a live conversation. because I want to hear from you, deep divers. I want to hear from you in live time, because this is the way forward. Right now, too much is happening. Too much is happening for me just to upload videos.
Thank you for your support.
Too much is happening for me just to upload videos, because by the time I upload a video, there's a new piece of information I got to talk about. And that's why live streaming is a game changer. Live streaming is a game changer. Live streaming is a game changer. I already made today's video, but I said, you know what? Let me just live stream. And that's what I do sometimes, deep divers. I say,
please no live videos or real fire this time.
I don't want to put out that video today. I'll just live stream and talk to the deep divers in real time. Once again, I want to shout out to everyone who's here. I'm going to read as many as your I'm going to read as many of the messages as possible. All of the messages. New stance, you are appreciated. It would be a dream come true. It would be a dream come true to have you as my mentor. Love everything you do. You are a modern day prophet. Never stop, one love. Hey, we can't stop. We won't stop. We gotta keep it moving. Say it with me, deep divers. We can't stop. We won't stop. We gotta keep it moving. Say it with me, deep divers. We can't stop. We won't stop. We gotta keep it.
Credits received. Thank you.
We gotta keep it moving. We gotta keep it moving, deep divers, because so much is happening. And I'm always starting anything I do with a thank you. I want to thank everybody who has been supporting Infinite Waters. Can we get a moment of silence?
Thank you for your monetary support.
I want to thank everyone who's on this journey with me, because it's not about Ralph Smart. It's about all of us empowering ourselves to live our best lives, to create the new earth where peace, love, and freedom reign supreme. We can't do it alone. We need each other.
Credits received.
We need each other. And this is why I'm always reminding you about the energy. The energy is everything.
Received. Thank you for your monetary support.
The energy that you put out there is everything. If I was to wake up,
Credits received. Thank you for your monetary support.
Ebony Green, you are appreciated. If I was to wake up and share bad energy with you, it's not going to feel good for you. And you are going to spread bad energy to everyone you meet. So I had to learn a long time ago to say, peace, Infinite Waters, diving deep once again. Do you know what I did? Do you know what happened when I started to say that? My life became better. It's amazing. When I started to say peace, all of a sudden, my life became more peaceful. So we got to remind ourselves of the energy we embody. Sarah, you are appreciated. Shout out to you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm grateful for you. You are appreciated. You are appreciated. Shirtless Vegan, you are appreciated. Much positivity, Ralph. Please check out my podcast on YouTube, Spiritual Confessions. Well, I'll be talking about predictive programming, movies, Don't Look Up, Death to 2020, Death to 2021. Hey, you are appreciated. And that's what's up. Right now, it's all about podcasting. It's all about live streaming. It's all about getting a message out there. That's what we got to do. We got to use this technology to free ourselves. We got to use this technology. We got to use this technology to empower ourselves. How is everyone out there today, deep divers? I hope you're raising the frequency, raising the vibration. We're starting off with good energy. So let's get into it, deep divers. Doomsday. It's about to get crazy, warning. Now, one thing I want to remind you of is that there is no end as we think it's the end. But there is an end, and there is a doomsday. You see, every civilization reaches a point where it begins to implode. This is what's happening in the world right now. Everything else are just symptoms. The world as we know it is changing at a rapid rate. But there's nothing to be afraid of. Nothing to be afraid of. Nothing to worry about. But we have to remind ourselves the importance of things coming to an end. And things are coming to an end for a lot of people. Things are starting to change. A lot of people are looking a little bit shaky, baby. Oh my gosh, what's going on, right? Because that's what happens. When you aren't really aware of what's happening, it can creep up on you. You wake up one day and the entire world is changed. It's about to get crazy. Warning. Now, if we go back a few years ago when I was out in the heart of nature, woo, breathing in that good ass prawn, baby, I was having downloads, major downloads. And one of the downloads was doomsday is upon us. Okay, so I'm not religious, I'm spiritual. Religion is for people who are afraid to go to hell. Spirituality is for people who've already been there. Slow motion this side. I've been to hell and back, deep divers, and I live to tell the tale. When I'm talking about doomsday, I'm not talking about a destruction of Mother Nature, because Mother Nature is not under threat. Mother Nature is the greatest alchemy. Gaia can take care of Gaia. It's human beings that are approaching doomsday. We're going to talk about it. And we're going to talk about what we can do to get ourselves out of this scenario that's happening on the planet. A lot of people feel that if they just go about their daily business, somehow, some way, everything on the planet is going to be perfect. And this is what a lot of people were in. This was the mindset a lot of people were in for a long time. They thought I could just go along with my life, not worry about anything. Wait a minute. Don't they tell you ignorance is bliss? Ignorance is bliss, right? Ignorance is bliss. This was the mantra drilled into so many people all around the world. Ignorance is bliss. Let's just drink and forget about it. But you see, now we can't just drink and forget about it because it's in our faces. It's at your doorstep. And this is why right now we got to remind ourselves every single day, if you are not prepared, you're going to be in for a rude awakening. Nobody would have believed if you were to tell them that the world would be in this state, nobody would believe you. But they were telling you. I was telling you, not only me, other light workers were telling you. They were saying, hey, prepare yourself for what's coming. A lot of messengers were giving you that message to say, wake up, wake up, wake up, prepare for what's coming. Because they already saw what was coming. I already saw what was coming, and it had everything to do with the implosion of this civilization. You see, when a fire has burned down the whole house, the only thing left for the fire to burn down and consume is itself. This system is imploding, not exploding. Is imploding. And that's the doomsday. The implosion is that reality has now caught up with the collective karma that we have all been involved in. we can't run from it anymore because it's in our faces. And you see, this is why it has to get worse before it gets better. This is why it has to get worse before it gets better. You see, it took all of this to happen for people to wake up a bit. Let me shout out to everyone who's here. Make sure you smash that like button, deep divers. Smash that like button and give thanks. So many beautiful deep divers are here. Pamela, you are appreciated. Good energy and love makes all the difference. Just hold on and love. Yes. Yes, that's what we need right now. What the world needs right now is a whole lot of love, a whole lot of good energy, a whole lot of good vibrations, raising the frequency, raising the vibration. Tube Trance, you are appreciated. Love to Ralph and all deep divers. Love is what's going to get us through this. Love is what's going to get us through this. Say it again, Ralph. Love is what's going to get us through this. But it's about to get crazy. And the reason why I'm telling you this is because I want you to be prepared this time. You see, what's happened on the planet is that a lot of people were not ready. A lot of people were ill prepared. And a lot of people were not doing the inner work. So when it came, they were taken off guard, looking a little bit shaky, baby. When this whole thing happened, I was cool. I was fine. I was fantastic. Why? Because I already knew what was coming. I already knew that this civilization was approaching doomsday. And this is the reason why we had the Great Conjunction. That was symbolic of doomsday, the end of this matrix as we know it, the system program crashing. And it's not just about what's happening on the planet. That's only a symptom. Like the great Krishnamurti said, it is no measure of health to be well adjusted to a profoundly sick society. Let me repeat that. Like the great Krishnamurti said, it is no measure of health to be well adjusted to a profoundly sick society. So when you remind yourself society is sick, and when someone is sick, they produce symptoms. One of the symptoms...
Received. Thank you for your monetary support.
Let me shout out to Lynn Winters. You are appreciated. I got a shout out to all the deep divers who are supporting me. I'm supporting you. Lynn Winters, you are appreciated. All love needs is you. Absolutely. All love needs is you. I like that. So when we remind ourselves, an ending is not a bad thing. A doomsday is not a bad thing. An implosion is not a bad thing. Something coming to an end allows space for a new beginning. And this is why many people all around the world are beginning to wake up to that reality. It's time to let go. You see, we were holding on for the longest time, not realizing you were holding on to a train going at 150 miles per hour. And this is the reason why people are now starting to say, oh, humanity, not just from the last 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, 50 years, this has been happening for thousands of years, has led us up to this point. And this is the reason why many people now are faced with a choice. You see, the way we are living, there's something called the morphogenetic resonance. And it works like this. Everything you do, think, say, feel goes into the field. It goes into everything around you. So if you have a lot of people who are waking up every single day with a screw face, bad body language. They hate their job. They don't want to be here. What this does, it sends energy into the universe. When you have millions, hundreds of millions of people doing that, it now changes the fabric of reality. And when you have millions of people coming together on one accord in a global meditation to bring more light on the planet, it also changes the fabric of reality. Now, we have to be honest. For the longest time, humanity has been fast asleep. Shout out to everyone who's here, deep divers. You are appreciated. Make sure you smash that like button. We got a lot to talk about. Doomsday, it's about to get crazy. Warning. Matthew Brown, you are appreciated. My personal belief. What you do to others will come back to you tenfold, 100-fold, 1,000-fold. Be kind, be wise. Absolutely. And also, what you do to the planet will come back to you tenfold, 100-fold, 1,000-fold. We got to remind ourselves that none of this had to happen on the planet. But you've heard the expression, everything happens for a reason. Why do you think what's happening in the world? You know what I'm talking about? The global pandemic. Not only that, economic collapse. Not only that, people losing jobs and homes. Not only that, problems in your relationship. Not only that, a lot is happening. Not only that, Neuralink. Not only that, the children's mental health being affected. All of this is happening for a reason. Because there is no such thing as an accident. There is no such thing as an accident. So to empower ourselves, we must remind ourselves, instead of saying, I don't want this to happen, we got to ask the universe, what is this teaching me? Slow motion this side. Instead of saying, I don't want this to happen, what's happening right now on the planet, QR codes, all of this, AI, transhumanism. Instead of saying, I don't want this to happen, we got to look for the deeper meaning behind what is happening to empower ourselves. Because it's obviously happening for a reason. It's obviously happening for a reason. What is the universe trying to teach you with everything that's happening? It's a soul test. It's a soul test. Kimberly, you are appreciated. Much love to you. I am drawn to write and create and stay in balance. Live in creation and leave the media behind. That's beautiful. Can we get a raising the frequency? Can we get a raising the vibration? What are we drawn to? What are we drawn to? What are you drawn to? Every single day, as soon as you wake up, what are you drawn to? And this is how we can empower ourselves. You see, the great news is that a lot of people are leaving behind fear. They're choosing love. A lot of people are leaving behind the media. They're choosing to listen to themselves. A lot of people are no longer afraid of this to end. What happened? A friend contacted me. She said, Ralph, this was when the lockdown first happened. She said, this is beautiful. I said, what? Oh, I know what you're talking about. Because she was expecting this. A lot of other people weren't, but what it forced people to do was take a look at their own life and also take a look at how they've been living. Nothing has been a greater wake-up call than what's happening on the planet right now. Let me say that again. Nothing has been a greater wake-up call than what's happening on the planet. Rachel, you are appreciated. Nothing has been a greater wake-up call than what's happening right now on the planet. Unfortunately, it's sad to say, but the fact still remains. It took this for people to open their eyes and see what's really going on. I said it's sad to say, but the fact still remains. It took everything that's happening right now to wake people up. And the great awakening is upon us. But we have to remind ourselves that it is a doomsday. You see, I'm not religious, I'm spiritual, but even in the Bible, it tells you about the doomsday. It tells you about the apocalypse. Apocalypse emanates from the Greek apokalypsis, which means a lifting of the veil. All of these books in the Enuma Elish, the Vedas, the Bible, the Dead Sea Scrolls, they were talking about the doomsday event. I had a friend, never forget, Ralph, the world is ending. What are you talking about?
You've been granted another complimentary celebration credit.
He was right. Right? You know those people, they come up to you, deep divers? I even got some friends who are Jehovah's Witness. They give you the leaflets. They say, hey, prepare for the end times, right? They tell you that. You think these people are just talking? Because I told you, there's a bit of truth in everything. There's a bit of truth in everything. It's not an accident or a coincidence. All of these scriptures, the Vedas, the Enuma Elish, even in the Emerald Tablets, going back to ancient Kemet or Egypt, they talk about the doomsday. Even the Mayans talked about it. Even the Mayans talked about the doomsday event. But the doomsday event was not a negative thing. The apocalypse wasn't a negative thing because the apocalypse meant a lifting of the veil. It's not an accident.
Credits received.
Ghislaine Maxwell. Pardon? What? Ghislaine Maxwell. Pardon? What? Ghislaine Maxwell. All of these things are happening right now for a reason. These things weren't supposed to get out, but that's what happens in the doomsday because the righteous will finally be seated at the throne. Say it again. I said the righteous will finally be seated at the throne and all the dirt is going to come out. Not because I want or the cat down the road wants, because that's what happens in the apocalypse. The apocalypse is the ultimate lifting of the veil. You're going to start to see the truth about how the world really works. There's a grand design that's happening. There's a grand design many people are now waking up to. You see, the beauty of the human spirit is that all human beings need is the right information. The beauty of the human spirit is that all human beings need is the right information. When a human being has the right information, they empower themselves. You've heard the expression, don't give me a fish, just teach me how to fish. I'm a vegan deep diver, so I don't fish, but it's a good expression. And this is the reason why a lot of the knowledge has been kept away from people for a long time. A lot of the sacred knowledge, the information, has been hidden from the masses for a long time. But what happened in 2012? Go back, check the YouTube archive. Check the YouTube archive. Check what was happening all around the world. Massive awakening. Now, it was happening because this was the time for it to happen as we left Pisces, the age of Pisces. Every 26,000 years, we go through the great cycle. Every 26,000 years, we go through the great cycle. Every 26,000 years, we go through the great cycle. When we are coming full circle, there's always a doomsday event. There's always a collapse. There's always an implosion. Many civilizations were here before. Many civilizations were here before. The Atlanteans, Lemurians, they were here before. What happened? What happened? Because you see, nothing is here forever in this universe. We are just passing like clouds. But everything that's happening right now on the planet is hugely symbolic of the apocalypse, the lifting of the veil, people finally seeing how powerful they truly are. Oh, it's a great time to be alive. It's a great time to be alive. And this is the reason why I embrace Doomsday. Because for a long time, I'm like, I don't want this to end. When you're programmed in the Matrix, you don't want this to end. You want to go to your regular job. You want to watch Netflix and chill. But when you start to wake up, you become like Kali, right? Kali, the goddess of what? You can tell me, who is Kali? The goddess of what? Who is Kali, deep divers? Who is Kali, the goddess of what? What energy does Kali bring? Destruction. Pardon? What energy does Kali bring, the goddess Kali? Destruction. Why does Kali bring death and destruction? Because, you see, for something to be reborn, it has to die. For the world to be reborn, all of this has to go. And this is the reason why when we change our relationship to an ending, we can now make space for a beautiful beginning. This is why when we change our relationship to the pain of endings, we can now make space for a new beginning. What's kept humanity back is holding on to this system. We have actually been the fuel that's been keeping this matrix going. Pardon? We have actually been the fuel that's been keeping this matrix going. Because I told you, it's the people that are the lifeblood of the system. If the people say enough is enough, then, well, enough is enough. If the people say, actually, I'm going to hold on to my freedom, then the whole world is free. Because it's always been with the people. The power has always been in the hands of the people. But you see, the people were tricked a long time ago into believing that if you let go, you will have nowhere else to go. The people were tricked into believing that if you let go of this system, you have nowhere else to go. Now, the good news is that a lot of people right now are starting to wake up and say, actually, I know who I am. Shaman, see a tarot, you are appreciated. Smash that like button, deep divers. The gloves are coming off. We got a whole lot to talk about. Doomsday. It's about to get crazy. Warning. Doomsday. The apocalypse. The lifting of the veil is here. Shaman, see a tarot, you are appreciated. You are blessed. You attract your tribe by your vibe. I see you, my friend. And that's what it's all about. You see, once upon a time on the planet, there were messages of love and peace and harmony. And this was more powerful, and it still is, than messages of bad news. But you see, because human beings veered so far away from who they truly were, they moved further and further away from the light. And when the light came, they didn't understand it. When the light came, they were blinded by it. When the light came, they no longer wanted it. They wanted to remain in the darkness. They wanted to remain in fear. And over generations, many people lost an appetite for what could truly help them. Many people lost an appetite for what could truly save them. Many people lost an appetite for what could truly set them free because they had programmed their entire DNA for suffering. And this is the reason why when Doomsday comes, And it's already here. You can see what's happening in the world. These are the signs of the times. You have to realize this is happening for a reason, to wake you up, to say, actually, the way you were living is no longer valid. We got to level up. We got to ascend to a higher vibration, a higher frequency. We got to put love over fear. And we got to remind ourselves that now you can't hide. Now you can't drink and forget about it, because I told you, the Grim Reaper is here. You see what's happening all around the world. If you are someone with your eyes closed, if you are someone who's saying, I don't want to hear that, you're going to wake up to a rude awakening. A lot of humans didn't want to hear that, but now they're in the midst of a whole lot of shit. And now people are starting to say, oh my gosh, what's happening? What's going on? That's what happens when you neglect the light. You become blind. You don't even realize that. But when you have love, you're not scared about a doomsday. You're not scared about the apocalypse, because you are in the process of letting this whole system go in the first place. You are in the process of detaching from this matrix in the process. You are in the process of detaching from this matrix, from letting everything they told us was the thing to be and have. All of that is coming to an end. Is doomsday for that. A long time ago, I'm like, hey, I want to be famous, man. I want to be on MTV Cribs. Like, peace. Why did I want to be on MTV Cribs? I was programmed watching these shows as a young child. And a lot of young children are also programmed through the music, the media, the television. You've been sold an illusion. And the doomsday is that this illusion is now coming to an end. And that's why I told you, we sometimes think that what's happening is because people are doing this. But there are also higher forces than people. Something called divine providence, divine order. And it's got everything to do with a great conjunction. It's got everything to do with the age of Aquarius. Now, I'm not the only one who was ahead of my time. There's a band called The Fifth Dimension. There's a band called The Fifth Dimension. There's a band called The Fifth Dimension. And they made, and they still do. But have you heard of that band, by the way, Deep Divers, The Fifth Dimension? Go and listen to them. Go and listen to The Fifth Dimension. They were telling you decades ago in their music about what was coming. They were telling you to raise the frequency, and all of their music was so inspiring because they named themselves The Fifth Dimension. They named the whole band The Fifth Dimension. So people have always known about this, that we're leaving the 3D, we're entering the 5D. It's doomsday for the 3D. It's doomsday for the Matrix. It's the final end game. And that's what you're seeing being played out right now. We don't have to be afraid of it. We don't have to run from it. We have to realize it's happening for a reason. And what you're seeing right now is the collective purging happening. You're seeing the result of thousands of years of trauma now coming out to the forefront. You're seeing humanity's collective shadow now knocking on its door to say, hey, you neglected me. What? Oh my gosh. The shadow is now knocking at your door. You know the shadow work? You know shadow work, deep divers? We've all got to do shadow work. You see, when you neglect your shadow and forget about your shadow and say ignorance is bliss, one day your shadow is going to be knocking on the door to say, hey, you can't run from me. You got to face me. And that's what's happening. Knock, knock. I'm your shadow, humanity. You can run. You can't hide forever. And this is the reason why right now people have to be aware of what's happening. It's happening for a reason. We have collectively created this reality. Reality is nothing more than a collective agreement. Reality is nothing more than a collective agreement. And this is the reason why all of this can change for the better when people start to realize this, to say, oh my gosh, I've been fast asleep thinking that everything is going to be wonderful tomorrow.
Thank you for your
You see,
support.
Jacob, you are appreciated. Shout out to everyone who's here, deep divers. Make sure you smash that like button. Jacob, every day is a new life. Prince Andrew gonna get his veil lifted. Shout out to you. Product for peso. Bless you, brother. Thank you for your help. Can you talk and make a video about the best vegan brain foods? Shout out to everyone who's leaving comments. I'm reading all of these comments. Metaphysical Mike, you are appreciated. And that's powerful right there. That's powerful right there, Metaphysical Mike. You see, this is how you really create reality. You got to speak it into existence. Say it with me, deep divers. The pandemic has ended. That's powerful right there. And this is what the ancients knew. They knew that you could say something, and if you keep repeating it, it can manifest. And when humanity realizes this, that the chance you have, what you say together can materialize. If you say, I'm scared, all you're going to get is a fearful world. But if you say, I choose love, you're gonna get a beautiful world, right? Product for peso, you are appreciated. Bless you, brother. Thank you for your help. Can you talk and make a video on the best vegan brain foods? That's a great question. That's a beautiful message. I always say, I put out a lot of plant-based videos. One of the videos I put out went viral. 7 alkaline foods to remove mucus and toxins from your body. Now, one of the best vegan brain foods, we're talking about blueberries full of anthocyanins, more vitamin C than oranges. We're also talking about the herbs, the sarsaparilla. We're talking about the sarsaparilla. Now, a lot of these herbs people don't really talk about. You know, I had to get schooled by my food mentor, and I had to learn about herbs. Shout out to Dr. Sabi. And a lot of herbs can cure so much in people. So one of the herbs, I made a video about it called sarsaparilla. When I drank it, I became Superman. I said, oh my gosh. Then I had to get into the sea moss, right? I was never big into sea moss.
Thank you.
Until I started to say, oh my gosh. People were telling me, Ralph, you got to check out the Irish sea moss. You got to do this. You got to do that. And Irish sea moss is a game changer. You want something that can really give you all the vitamins and minerals you need? Irish sea moss, fantastic. The chlorella, spirulina. These are the superfoods you're not going to find in your local supermarket. But that's what you need to stay healthy with a strong immune system. Drinking that Irish sea moss is fantastic. Also, E3 Live, right? When I'm in California, I'm drinking a lot of E3 Live. Shout out to everyone who's here, deep divers. Make sure you smash that like button. Smash that like button and give thanks. Shout out to everyone who's joining us. So, hey, Gold Sweat 360. Gold Sweat 360. Shout out to you. I'm not missing no more lives. No. If you aren't missing any more lives, deep divers, smash that like button. If you are not missing any more lives, smash that like button. Much love, everybody. Stay strong. Absolutely. We got to stay strong right now. We got to stay strong. We got to stay empowered. We got to remind ourselves that the apocalypse, doomsday, the word apocalypse emanates from the Greek apocalypsis, which means a lifting of the veil. We can see what's happening. It's not a coincidence that right now, everything is coming out. Ghislaine Maxwell, you've seen the verdict. You've seen the verdict of that trial, right? You've seen the verdict of that trial. She was found guilty, but that's just the tip of the iceberg. We got to remind ourselves the rabbit hole goes deep, and the doomsday is to say we got to let all of that go. Because for a long time, people have been holding on to this shabby ass system, not realizing that the people running the matrix are involved in terrible things behind the scenes. And this is the reason why the more you attach yourself to it, the more you sponsor it. The more you attach yourself to it, the more you fuel it. You fund it. And this is the reason why the apocalypse is the lifting of the veil. People are now starting to wake up and see what's really going on even in the music industry. I told you.
Another year of support.
Doomsday
Another complimentary celebration
is in all areas of life. So let's just talk about the music industry.
Thank you.
A lot of artists in the music industry are now starting to wake up. And that's a good thing.
Another Earth cycle.
They're now starting to say, actually, I need to own my masters, because Prince was telling you about that, right? You need to own your masters. You need to make sure you don't get in a crappy ass 360 deal. You need to make sure you don't get in a 360 deal. Because you see, from the outside, if you look at the celebrity world, and we are the real stars, by the way, we're the real celebrities. If you look at the music industry or the entertainment, sports industry, you think, oh my gosh, these people have such a glamorous life. What you don't know is that they are under contract. There are certain things they can't talk about. They got to nod their head and just say yes. And this is the reason why Kanye West made the song New Slaves. He made the song New Slaves because he was telling you in the music that even though we got a billion, we're the new slaves. Right? And this is why the doomsday that's happening, the apocalypse, is for people to lift the veil, to say, oh my gosh, I would rather be free than be a rich slave. I would rather be free than be a rich slave. When you remind yourself, everything that's happening is happening for a reason. Doomsday. It's about to get crazy. Warning. Marie, you are appreciated. Shout out to you. Thank you for all your videos, Ralph. It is a wonderful time to be alive. Feels so good to be alive, baby. Absolutely. It's a beautiful time to be alive. I'm excited, deep divers. I'm excited. And this is what happens when you are someone who has been really doing the inner work. When you are someone who's been unplugging from the matrix. When you are someone who's really been moving into nature every day, you realize this is a great time to be alive, because this is the end times. This is the true apocalypse. And it's not a negative thing, because all the apocalypse is, all the doomsday is that this is ending. A lot of people don't want it to end. They want to stay in the illusion.
Another
They want to hold on,
You've been granted
not realizing they're heading for a cliff.
credit.
That's how
Please
programmed
name
we
live
are.
animals or real fire
But
based
sometimes you got to say, you know what? Enough is enough. It's time to let go. It's time to let go. And once you let go, it feels amazing. It takes a lot of courage to do that, because this whole system was designed to say, if you don't do what everyone else is doing, you're going to be alone. You're going to be the odd one out. Now the Great Awakening is showing people actually the so-called minority are actually the majority. Pardon? The so-called minority are actually the majority. People are now letting go, waking up to this shabby ass system and saying, actually, it's time to reclaim our freedom. It's time to reclaim our power. It's time to protect the mental health of our children. And this is why the doomsday is here. You see, doomsday only happens when things go wrong. Doomsday only happens when there's an error code in the system. Uh-oh. Doomsday only happens when it's a system failure. Because when there's no system failure, there's no doomsday. Doomsday happens, like I said, every civilization comes to an end when the ego outweighs the heart. That's what's happening right now. Every civilization comes to an end when the ego outweighs the heart. Every civilization comes to an end and meets its doomsday when the ego outweighs the heart. What's happening on the planet? Me, me, me. Human beings caught up in ego. Now, I told you. They only give you something hoping that you can perpetuate it. Hoping that you can continue to help create their world. So, a disease many people have, being in this trauma-based world, is that many people were disconnected from other people. And this disconnection creates something called narcissism. When you are disconnected from your fellow human being, you only say it's only about me. What are we seeing on the planet? We're seeing the rise of the narcissistic personality disorder. We're seeing the rise of the narcissistic personality disorder. What happened to Narcissus? That's the question, deep divers. What happened to Narcissus? You can tell me, I'll wait. What happened to Narcissus? Do you know what happened to him? How does the story go, deep divers? What happened to Narcissus? What end did he meet? Do you know? Put it in the chat. What was the outcome of him? He drowned. Uh-oh. He was so infatuated with himself, he fell in love with his own reflection. That's what's happening on the planet. People are having a narcissistic personality crisis. And this is the reason why it's doomsday. Because when you don't include
Credits received.
me,
Thank you for your monetary support.
and it's all about you, it's already the end. Because as human beings, we are only as strong as each other. As human beings, there is no me, me, me. That's why I'm doing the live stream, because it's not just about me putting out videos. It's about me interacting with you to say, actually, I'm not better than you. I'm not less than you. I'm exactly the same as you. I'm exactly the same as you. But what's happened in the matrix? What's happened in the world? People think they're better than other people. And people are trying to become better than other people. Ultimately, the narcissistic personality disorder, we can see it in TikTok. We can see it in Instagram. We can see it in Facebook. Instead of Facebook, put your face in a book. But this narcissistic personality disorder is actually a disease created by the separation that people have from the ego mind. When you don't see each other as one, you say, actually, I want to be better than this person. I want more views than this person. I want more followers than this person. Not realizing you are Narcissus. Narcissus fell in love with his own reflection. He was so infatuated with his own reflection, he reached out to touch himself. He drowned in the river. That's what's happening. That was his doomsday. And that's what is happening to humanity. Humanity has a narcissistic personality disorder. It's been ego-based for thousands of years. It's always me, 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 dog eat dog world. Now, when this happens, you now meet your demise. You see, birds are smart enough to realize we got to stick together. When you see birds flying,
Thank you for your monetary support.
it's a whole load of them. Right? They're flying together in harmony, singing. Human beings are like, actually, I can do it myself.
Thank you for your monetary
This has only left you isolated. And this is the reason why humanity has not reclaimed its full power, because it isolated itself. People isolated themselves from each other. One of the laws of power, do not isolate yourself. What happens when people allow their ego to drive them around the place? You're going to have all kind of accidents. That's what's happening. So the doomsday is to let go of this ego mindset, which has been in place for thousands of years. You see, if it wasn't this pandemic that's happening, it's not the pandemic that's the issue. Pardon? It's not the pandemic that's the issue. It's not the Neuralink that's the issue. These are just symptoms. See, a lot of people don't get it, that everything that's happening is part of a disease. What we are seeing around us are the symptoms of the greater disease, which is humanity. Humanity's mindset, which has led us into this place to begin with. When you say, actually, okay, who's the richest man in the world? When we have debates about who's the richest man in the world, now you can see why we're in this position. When you have debates about who's the richest man in the world, you can see how humanity is divided through the ego mindset. And this is the reason why people are trying to step on other people just to make it. People are trying to step on other people just to make it, not realizing they're actually stepping on their own support system in the process. So it's a doomsday for that. We got to let that end. You see, doomsday is all about seeing that things come to an end
Party time drones activated.
when
Celebration maneuver.
we can no longer go anywhere. Hence, lockdown. That's the symbolism. Don't you get it? Everything is symbolic. If you go to a movie, right, how you decode a movie is how you decode life. You look for the symbolism. What is the symbolism in what's happening? Lockdown. Lockdown, symbolic of jail. So the symbolism is that you have been living in lockdown and you've been in a prison you don't even know about. You've been in a prison you don't even know about. So it's all symbolism to say, hey, how have I been in a prison? What way has humanity been in a prison? That's the question. What way has humanity been in the prison? Because we were in lockdown before the lockdown. People were in lockdown before the lockdown. You see, for everything to happen in the physical plane, it has to happen on the mental plane first. Everything happening in the physical plane has already happened in the astral realm, the unseen realm first. So everything you are seeing in the physical has already happened in another realm. Humanity has been in lockdown for a long, long time. And the lockdown is the ego mind, has kept humanity in a huge lockdown. You see, one thing human beings do well is that they have a short memory. Pardon? One thing human beings do well is that they've got a short memory. But you see, if you don't learn from your history, you'll only be condemned to repeat it. Pardon? I said, if you don't learn from your history, the mistakes you made, you'll only be condemned to repeat it. So everything that's happening right now has already happened 100 years ago. Happens every 100 years. Same thing happens. But a lot of people forget about it. Right? Every 100 years, this similar thing happens. If you were able to do the research, you would see that actually we've been in this place before. And in the next 100 years, it will happen again if people don't wake up. Because human beings have a short-term memory. We've been distracted. We've been distracted. We've allowed ourselves to be distracted. You see, a lot of people are celebrating. A lot of people are dancing on TikTok, not realizing your freedoms are being taken away. Pardon? What? Keep on dancing. Don't worry about it. I said a lot of people are dancing on TikTok, not realizing their freedoms are being taken away as they're dancing. This is the illusion people have been in for a long time. Because once again, human beings don't wake up until it's too late. Human beings don't wake up until it's too late. And this is the parody. This is the parody of life. Like you've heard the expression, life is a meme. Right? They're taking away your freedom and you're dancing on TikTok. Yay! Yay! That's the parody. That you don't even know that while you're being distracted over here, we're making plans for you over here. And it's all done by a grand design. And that's the reason why you can't blame the people who aren't taking a day off to put you in checkmate. Because this is a game of chess. If you aren't paying attention to what's happening on the board, it's going to be checkmate. You don't realize you're in a game of chess. In chess, you got to stay focused on the board and you got to focus every single second. You can't take your eye off the board or it's over. It's checkmate. Good night. Humanity is not even paying attention to the game of chess they're in. And that's the reason why it's a checkmate every time. And this is the reason why this is the reason why you have to realize, what did Bob Marley say? What did Bob Marley say? He said, wicked, the evil never take a day off. Pardon? What? The evil never take a day off. They got things to do. They got big plans to make. They got big meetings to attend to. And that's why you got to ask yourself, why should I take a day off? Because wickedness never takes a day off. Evil never takes a day off. The Grim Reaper never takes a day off. Every day, they're out to collect souls. They got to eat. They got to eat. They got to feed themselves. So when you remind yourself that while you're partying, distracting yourself, they're busy working, planning, to control you, not just in this lifetime, but in all lifetimes. Scientology, what? Let's go into it. I'm at work, story time. I was reading Dianetics, right? Dianetics. I was actually approached by someone. This was when I was a student. This was a long time ago. A long time ago. I was approached by Scientologists. They're like, are you stressed? I said, yes, I'm stressed. They said, oh, let's do a stress test for you. Let me get into that story, deep divers. Shout out to everyone who's here. Make sure you smash the like button, deep divers. Smash the like button and share this link. Oh, we're going to have fun today. Now, who else in C? Now you are appreciated. They're now focusing in burning forests and nature down everywhere. What can we do about that? I'm going to come to that, but let me finish this Scientology story. So I'm a student. I get approached by these Scientologists. Ralph, they don't know my name, but they just say, hey, are you stressed? I said, yes. They said, okay, let's do a stress test on you. And they did this test. And they said, okay, this is what's wrong with you. I said, oh my gosh, these people know me. They're like, we'll be in touch. I said, okay. They say, just read this book. I said, what's it about? Oh, the book is called Dianetics, right? So I'm reading the book. I was fascinated by it. Then I started to say, wait a minute. It's so easy to put people under a spell. One of the contracts is like, I'll own your soul for 1 billion years. I'm like, shit. Put the book down straight away. But when you remind yourself, L. Ron Hubbard, who created Scientology, he created his own religion and is still a very wealthy business today. And reason why I'm bringing that up is because it's so easy to hypnotize people into a religion, a whole cult, and all of these things. And you have to be free of all of that. You got to free your mind. And that's how everything changes. You got to free your mind. You see, and this is why many people are under mass hypnosis. They may not be in a cult, an organized religion, but their society is a cult. Pardon? Society is a cult. Go and listen to Terence McKenna. Terence McKenna was a genius. Now, the knowledge Terence McKenna brought to the planet is irreplaceable. And he had a whole segment growing up I used to listen to, which is culture is not your friend. Culture is not your friend. And a lot of people don't realize this, that culture is actually a trap. Because it gets everybody doing the same thing. And it helps people not to think for themselves. And it's very hard to break out of certain culture. Sometimes you're born in a culture, you got to do what everyone else is doing. And when Terence McKenna said culture is not your friend, I said, wait a minute, he's onto something. So I got to shout out Terence McKenna. Alan Watts, another great mind.
Credits received. Thank you for your monetary support.
When you remind yourself that one of the things Alan Watts said, which was an eye-opener for me, Alan Watts said, what if money was no object? What would you do? Right? What if money was no object? What would you do? Would you still be in that same job? Would you still be selling your soul? Right? So this is how to really reprogram your mind to be free. We got to remind ourselves that we're in a game. And this game, when you figure it out, it's doomsday. It's apocalypse moment. It's over. And A lot of people are now starting to realize that. At the same time, there are still many people still holding on, still staying in the Squid Games because they're still playing for a chance to win. The Squid Game promises you can win the billions. All you have to do is kill each other until you're the only one left. Go and listen to what the director of Squid Games told you. The director of Squid Games said that when the whole pandemic happened, it's like we're living in a Squid Games. This is what inspired me to make the Squid Games. It's actually showing you how our society actually is. So the Squid Games wasn't just a Netflix special. It's actually happening right now. People are in the Squid Games playing for a chance to win. All they have to do is kill everybody around them. In other words, all they have to do is be in the ego to win. And the doomsday moment is that humanity has reached a level where it has to get worse before it gets better. It has to get worse before it gets better. Because it's going to take a lot for people to wake up and open their eyes to say, oh my gosh, what's going on? Because people are so numb and desensitized that it takes bad things to happen for you to appreciate all the good things that were happening in your life that you weren't paying attention to before. I like that one. Slow motion this side. I said it takes bad things to happen for you now to pay attention to all of the good things that were happening for you to pay attention to all the good things that were happening in your life that you weren't paying attention to before. You see, humanity has been in a party for a long time. It's been dancing to the disco music. It's been drinking heavily. But someone said, DJ, stop the music. What? The show, it's over. Huh? Now people are waking up on the dance floor. It's 4 o'clock. It's time to go home. It's cold outside. It's Gotham City out here, deep divers. And that's what's happening. The music has stopped. Huh? Did you hear that? Ever been in a club, deep divers, and the music just stops? All of a sudden you get a moment of clarity. You're like, what the hell am I doing in this place? It's like the spell has just been broken. That's where humanity is at right now. It's now starting to say, oh my gosh, I got to wake up from the deep sleep. I was hypnotized for a long time. I was listening to music with no messages. I was in a big asylum. I was in a lunatic asylum, right? And humanity has been in a lunatic asylum for a long time. Humanity has been in a lunatic asylum, not realizing the ones who are running the asylum are the ones who actually need the most help. The world's in big trouble. I made a video on that to say that we've reached a point. Shout out to After School, right? Shout out to After School. I did the collaboration with After School. Tipping point. And we have reached a tipping point. And the tipping point is not a negative thing either. It's just is what it is. And a tipping point happens when you have a moment of clarity to say, oh my gosh, we overdid it, Holmes. We overdid it. Humanity has reached that tipping point. And it's not only happening over the last few years, it's been in effect for thousands of years. We're now reaching that tipping point. We're now realizing the way we have been living has caused this in the first place. Pardon? The way we have been living has caused this in the first place. And this is the reason why the great Krishnamurti said, it is no measure of health to be well adjusted to a profoundly sick society. It is no measure of health to be well adjusted to a profoundly sick society. You got a choice to make. Are you part of the sickness, or are you now a part of the healing process? Because part of healing is to become self-aware, to say, actually, I need to heal myself. But if you're still going along with the Squid Games, you're going to be in for a rude awakening. A lot of people are. A lot of people do not realize that 1984.
Thank you for your monetary support.
Orwell knew a lot because he was privy to a lot of information. Just like Aldous Huxley. Go and research the Fabian Society. We'll talk about that later. But they already knew that doomsday was coming. Orwell knew doomsday was coming. Shout out to everyone who's here, Deep Divers. We've got a whole lot to talk about. Oh, yes. Doomsday. It's about to get crazy. Warning. You see, sometimes people don't listen.
Thank you for your monetary support.
Until it gets really bad. Then they have no choice but to listen. Pardon? I said sometimes people don't listen until it gets really bad. Now they have no choice but to listen. MJ Mackenzie, you are appreciated. Ralph looking cool. Cat down the road, you are appreciated. Much love to everyone here, Deep Divers. It's always a beautiful event when you're here live streaming with wonderful souls. It's always something to be thankful for. So Orwell knew about 1984, which is actually happening right now. He knew about the Doomsday event. Aldous Huxley knew about the Doomsday event. He wrote The Brave New World. Fantastic book. Feel Alive by Ralph Smart. Fantastic book. Aldous Huxley, Brave New World. Fantastic book. I remember reading it. We're in the Brave New World right now. You see, Aldous Huxley said something very telling. He said, men and women will grow up to love their servitude, and they will never dream of revolution.
Credits received. Thank you for your monetary support.
They spoke to you about the doomsday. I got to shout out Anthony T. Browder. Null Valley Contributions to Civilization. Phenomenal book. The ancients knew about it. The ancients knew about it. In ancient Egypt, they knew about it. Why do you think they were so fascinated with the rebirth cycle? Because they knew that you can't take any of this with you. You got to leave it behind. A lot of people don't know that. They've been hoodwinked. Oh, I got to get this new car. You don't even realize that time is ticking. Soon you're not going to be here. And we are immortal. Energy can never die, but like my grandma used to say, we're just passing strangers, right? We're just passing strangers, right? So you don't want to become so attached to all of these things around you. I used to really be attached to material possessions, like, oh my gosh, it's my iPhone. Oh my gosh. Then I realized that actually things were designed to be used.
Credits received. Thank you.
People were designed to be loved. You see, the problem with the world is that things are being loved and people are being used. Slow motion this side. You You have people who will kill you over an iPhone. Pardon? You have people who will kill you over an iPhone. Right? You got people who will kill you over an iPhone. You got people who they worship material possessions over human beings. Right? They worship material possessions over human life. Idolatry. That's where humanity has been led into. People have been worshiping things, devices, apps over human beings. So what happens? When people do that for so long, they now reach the doomsday moment. Because I told you, we are only children on the planet. Mother Nature is a lot smarter than Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, and even the cat down the road. Mother Nature knows what it's doing. Gaia knows what it's doing. And it knows that, its children are very mischievous. They'll learn their lessons, incarnate a few times, destroy themselves, and then come back again and then learn. So the doomsday is not for Mother Nature, because Mother Nature is an alchemist. Human beings will be extinct before Mother Nature is. And when you remind yourself that the doomsday is that humanity has become a hazard to itself based on the way it's been living. And this is the reason why they're talking about a great reset. Can you see the symbolism? It's the reason why they're saying, oh shit, we got to do a great reset. Before the great reset, there was the cosmic reset that we're in right now. And this is the reason why they're talking about a great reset, because they know that the way we are living is no longer sustainable. It's not that there are too many human beings on the planet. No, not at all. It's that people are consuming resources upon resources. And this is the reason why the wake-up call is now here. When you have a parasite in nature, parasites live off their host. Agent Smith told Neo in The Matrix, human beings are a disease, a cancer to the planet, a plague. And we are the cure. Everybody feels what they're doing is the right thing. And I told you, even the programmers of this matrix are like, okay, we got a problem. Let's balance out things. Let's have a great reset. By 2030, let's make sure they owe nothing and they'll be happy. They're trying to find a way out of this as well. Because they know humanity has been moving in a direction of its own extinction. So everything that's happening is happening for a reason. Instead of saying to the universe, why are we living in these times? You really want to be asking yourself a better question. What can I learn from what's happening? Is there a lesson in this? Do you think there's a lesson in what's happening in the world right now? That's the question. Do you think there's a lesson in what's happening in the world right now? Or do you feel that, I hope this ends and let's just get back to normal? Wait a minute. Don't you realize your normality created this in the first place? Slow motion this side. Someone said, Ralph, it wasn't normal before normal, right? It wasn't normal before normal. So when you remind yourself that everything that's happening right now is happening for a reason, to wake people up, to start to see that we have collectively created this through our own voluntary permission, allowing people permission, giving our permission. We created this. And therefore, we can only be the ones to get ourselves out of this. No one else is going to do it. There's not going to be someone coming from the sky who's just going to do it for you. That would be great, deep divers, but it doesn't work like that. You see, when you get yourself in a whole lot of shit, you got to remind yourself that you can also get yourself out of it because you got yourself in it. Ever tie your shoelace, deep divers? Your mama's or your dad is like, oh my gosh, you just did a massive knot and you need them to untie it. And they're like, you got to untie it. I don't want to untie it. But you tied the knot in the first place. You got to now retrace your steps to untie that knot. But you see, that knot has to be untied. It's not going to untie itself. You can go to bed, listen to beautiful meditation music, but you're only going to wake up in the same shit. You can sing Kumbaya under a tree, but you see, it doesn't change the fact that you've got to untie that knot. It's not going anywhere. So when you remind yourself that it's a call to action for humanity to say, wait a minute, we messed up. Let's make it right. We can make it right with love. We can make it right with unity. We can make it right with reminding ourselves we no longer have the luxury to be ignorant. Pardon? I said we no longer have the luxury to be ignorant. It was cool. It was all good just a week ago. It was cool to be ignorant. It was cool to be like, I don't want to know about that stuff. I'm just going to do my TikTok dances. That was cool. But we can no longer do that. We don't even have the luxury of doing that collectively. Because if we do that, oh, it's going to be so bad for humanity. They're going to be wishing they were in hell. Pardon? Exactly. People no longer have the privilege to say, what's happening doesn't concern me. You don't have that privilege, that luxury anymore. It does concern you. It concerns your children's future. And if you don't wake up, get your head out of your ass and say, oh my gosh, what's happening? You're going to wake up one day and you're going to be having a huge problem on your hands. That's irreversible. The doomsday, the apocalypse, which means a lifting of the veil, which is already here, is about us all reminding ourselves we need to allow this veil to lift even more. When you embrace the apocalypse, when you embrace the lifting of the veil, you can now start to see things that you were once afraid of seeing. Everything right now is coming out. You can run, but you can't hide forever. And it's all because that's what happens in the doomsday. Ghislaine Maxwell, what happened? What was the verdict? You already know. But not only that, when we remind ourselves, even in music for a long time, people were selling lies to people in videos, in music videos. They were renting the cars. They were actors in the videos. People believed it was real. People weren't living what they were talking about in the music. They're actors. And doomsday happens when people are now able to see the real from the fake. Because a lot of you were, I'm sure you were influenced by music with messages which weren't serving you. The doomsday comes when you say, actually, all of that has to end. Bring back Lauryn Hill, pardon. Bring back Lauryn Hill, pardon. Bring back Lauryn Hill. We need some real music in here right now. Right? So when you say doomsday on the frequencies which have only led you to the slaughterhouse, you can have a whole new beginning for frequencies and vibrations that uplift your soul. And this is why I had to say doomsday. I had to say it's over on the whole system because I was misled. I was misguided. And what really did it for me was to say, oh my gosh, you see, reality is a lot different than what we think it is. Many people, if you really get into quantum physics, right, the double slit experiment, when you observe atoms, they behave differently. This is actually close to the truth of how our reality works. You got to study quantum physics. You got to study quantum mechanics. When you learn about the wave and the particle, when you learn that electrons change, the whole experiment, when there are people observing the experiment, it's a whole different experiment. Do you know that the double slit experiment is showing you how reality works? Dr. Emoto showing you how reality works. Do you know that by talking to sound frequencies, by talking, singing songs, playing certain music changes the water crystals? And this is what Dr. Emoto knew in his research. Shout out to Mary. Make sure you smash the like button, deep divers. Smash the like button and share this link. Smash the like button, share this link. Mary Harris, you are appreciated. I appreciate everything you do for humanity. Once again, it's everything we do. You know, I could only do it with your help. And right now we have to remind ourselves that it's time to stand up. It's time to stand up for your freedom, because it's slowly being taken away from you and you don't even know it because you're distracted on TikTok. One of the universal laws is that in the occult is that everything has to be shown. Just like in the game of chess, which is an occult game, the pieces have to be in plain sight. But someone can still beat you if you're not paying attention. They don't have to hide their chess pieces. Everything is on the chessboard, but I'm still going to beat you. It's how the universe works. And this is the reason why they have to hide things in plain sight, which is the paradox, right? But they can only beat you if you are not paying attention to the game. You can only get your ass whooped if you are not paying attention to the game. And if you want to say, actually, no, it's not checkmate, you have to be paying attention to the chessboard, because you're dealing with master players who never take their eye off the board. How do you think you've got a chance to win if you're playing against someone in chess who's always looking at the board? And if you're texting over here, you're dancing over there, it's game over. The game is over before it even started. As a young child, I played the chess master Harriet Hunt. Now, I was chosen by my chess teacher, Mr. Bardia. 5 of us were chosen. And 5 people were chosen in schools all around where I was staying at. I was young. They said, hey, you're going to play this chess master. I'm excited. I said, let me just say a shout out to Allison. You are appreciated. Thank you for all your work, Ralph. Peace. Peace to you, Allison. You are appreciated. So I said, so you want me to play a chess master called Harriet Hunt? It was in a hotel. Five of us from my school, 5 of us from another school, another 5 people from another school. She ended up playing 50 people. She was in the middle of the room. We were all there with our chessboard, and she would walk one by one and play 50 of us, and she beat all of us. And when you remind yourself that you're in a game of chess right now, and you're dealing with a master chess player. You're dealing with people who know the moves you're going to make before you even make them. You're dealing with algorithms, just like in the Matrix, right? They told you about these algorithms. They know what you want before you even want them. You go on the internet and you're like, hey, I need a pair of shoes. Before you even thought of that, the pair of shoes you want is already on the side. Oh my gosh, how did they know that? You're dealing with these kinds of people who are studying the psychology of human beings, studying the human nature of human beings. And also, they never take their eye off the board because their only goal is to win ruthlessly. They will wipe your pieces off the board. And humanity has lost a lot of its pieces. See, a piece in chess is a freedom move. Pardon? A piece in chess is a freedom move. And if you lose all of your pieces, you've lost the game. And especially if you're not working together, if your pieces are not in harmony together, it's game over. The inorganic ones understand the game of chess. They don't agree with each other, but they know one thing. We got to work together. That's the only way a small amount of us can control billions of people. And this is showing you the lesson. You don't need a lot of people to control a lot of people. All you need is smart people who are paying attention to the game, who know the rules of the game, and who count on your own ignorance. When you remind yourself, you can reclaim your power by understanding, understanding, overstanding how this game works. One of the rules of the game of life is that nothing can happen to you without your permission. Pardon? Nothing can happen to you without your permission. Pardon? I said nothing can happen to you without your consent. And things can only happen to you with your permission. So they have to ask you first, can I do this? And if you say yes, then they can do it. But if you say no, they can't do it. Even in the Squid Games, there were rules to it. If the majority said, actually, we don't want to play in the Squid Games, we want our freedom, the Squid Games, they were like, okay, you can go home. But if the majority said, actually, we want to stay in the Squid Games, we want to stay in the Matrix, then the game continued. That's a fundamental rule of how this reality works in the Matrix. It's all about learning how the rules work. And one of the rules is that they need your permission. Another rule is that the majority creates the collective reality. The majority creates the collective reality. Now,
you've been granted another complimentary celebration credit.
What is the majority
No live animals or
thinking on the
vampires
planet?
this time.
What is the masses thinking on the planet? Have you ever tapped into the masses, into the billions of people? What are they thinking? Are they really diving deep, or are they just staying on the surface? Are they really aware of what's happening? Do you really think so? Or do you think that most people just want to watch Netflix and be on TikTok and just not think about that stuff? What do you think, deep divers? I'm asking you. What do you think of billions of people? What do you think billions of people are really having in their heart right now on the planet? What do you think billions of people are having right now in their heart on the planet? What do you think they're thinking about? Do you think they're thinking about getting free? Or do you think that they just want to eat the next meal and watch TV and just watch the game and that's it? What do you think? Yeah, I truly feel that. I feel the majority of people don't want to think. Majority of people want to stay in comfort. That's all they want. Comfort. They want to be comfortable. They don't want to have to worry about anything. And this is the reason why the architects of this matrix have enslaved billions of people so easily, because they know the psychology of human beings. Human beings love comfort. They don't want to step out of their comfort zone. They love security. They don't like change. That's a fundamental rule, right? Human beings do not like change. But you're dealing in a universe that change is the only constant. They know this, but they know that human beings fear change more than anything. So what they tell you is, we're going to make a comfortable prison for you where you don't have to worry about anything. We'll take care of it. And that's what's happening in the world right now. So when you begin to remind yourself, it's not a matter of good and evil. It's seeing that human beings have agreed to what's happening. They have given their consent to what's happening. And they don't see anything wrong with what's happening collectively. I'm not talking about a few thousand people. I'm talking about billions of people. Once again, majority create collective reality. And therefore, if you want a better earth, because it's about to get crazy, you have to influence that majority. You have to put out messages every single day. You have to tap into the mainstream. Pardon? You've got to tap in. You've got to infiltrate. You've got to hack the mainstream. The media do it. The media they are hacking billions of people's minds every single day. And they don't stop, because they know they got to keep on going. That's how people can do what they want. That's how they can get people to do what they want. They got to continue to pump out these news stories. So you can learn to say, oh, I get it. That, you see, why don't they take a day off? Ever wondered that? I mean, they got billions. They should just sit back and relax and enjoy, right? They got billions of dollars. What's getting them up every single day in the morning? Because they know they got work to do. But many people have no idea that it's about to get crazy because you're still living in your comfort zone, still living in your prison. And this is the reason why doomsday must not be feared, but it must be embraced. The apocalypse, which means a lifting of the veil, must be welcomed. Because the apocalypse of this system is the only way out of it. A lifting of the veil is the only way out of it. If you continue to be hypnotized, you're going to be in for a rude awakening. Because you're going to wake up realizing you have no freedom whatsoever. You're dealing with a master magician. A magician can show you something that's not there. I tell man you are appreciated. A magician can show you something that's not there and make you believe in something that is not real. The Hopis knew about this. They told you. What is real? Morpheus told you. Real are electrical signals interpreted by your brain. So TikTok is real. The metaverse will be turned into a reality for billions of people. And you don't even know that it's about to get crazy because you're reaching a point where it's going to be indistinguishable from the real world. That's going to be the real world. But you don't hear me though. And it's a choice you have to make to say, actually, do I want to reclaim my freedom? Or do I want to continue to enter the metaverse? Right? So you got to remind yourself, everything that's happening right now is a wake-up call. And it had to happen. It's needed. Everything that's happening is about helping you to see what's been happening. It's just that now it's in your face. Because this is the apocalypse. This is the entry into the age of Aquarius. We are now seeing that, oh, reality isn't what I thought it was. Oh, there's so much more I can learn about. Oh, I've been lied to. Then you realize you're in a game. Do you think they just create these board games just for the fun of it? Do you think they just create... Do you know the game Snakes and Ladders is an actual game which was created thousands of years ago in the Indus Valley, and it was actually just a game for children to show them how karma worked. You can be at 99. Once you hit that snake, you're going all the way back to 1. And Snakes and Ladders, they put into these games how reality works. You can have it all one day, but if you lose focus, it's over. You got to go all the way back down. And humanity is in the game of snakes and ladders. And they keep going down and down because they forget that you not paying attention, you not living in harmony with Mother Nature, you not thinking this has anything to do with you is the reason why it's game, set, and match. Because you don't even realize how crazy it's about to get. If you did, you would start preparing. You would start saying, wait a minute, let me do some research about what's really going on. Let me educate myself, not just about the books they give me. Let me go deep into the rabbit hole to find out what's really happening. This is how you can empower yourself
Credits received.
for victory.
Thank you for your monetary support.
Because if you say, you know what, I don't want to know about that stuff. Oh my gosh, that's so deep, man. It is deep, deep divers. And the people who are able to dive deep are the ones who have the power. If you take a classical violinist, right? Marcus, you are appreciated. A classical violinist, how they play the violin is extremely intricate. It's not basic, it's deep. Everything is deep. Subtle things take years to master. If you just think it's going to be easy,
Thank you for your
you
monetary
learn
support.
to play the violin, you'll find yourself not making any nice sounds because you got to remind yourself it goes deep. There's many things you got to study about the violin. It's very intricate, very complex instrument. At the same time, the ones who have mastered playing the violin, it seems easy, but it's very deep in learning how to be a master violin player, a master violinist, right? So it's the same way as reality. If you really want to master this reality, you have to remind yourself it's like a video game. You have to
Credits
remind yourself
Thank you for your monetary support.
that there's levels to this shit. There's levels. I remember playing Super Mario, right? You're on level 1. Then you go to level 2. Every level gets harder. And that's how it is in this reality because it's a simulation. Angelo Pastore, you are appreciated. They are using us and sacrificing us like pawns in a chess game. I say we stop playing the game, show them how powerful we are, and raising the vibrations. Absolutely. We gotta remind ourselves to stop being pawns. You see, that's another thing about the game of chess. The pawns are always sacrificed. And the 99% are symbolic of the pawns. You see, the bishops, the queens, the rooks, the knights, they're always protected. But the pawns are always off the board first. And you have to learn that you don't want to be the sacrificial lamb. You don't want to just play a game which has been rigged. You see, part of the Squid Games and other games people play have been rigged. The game you're in right now have been rigged based on the ego construct. So, for instance, someone can have $5 billion. Their son can inherit that wealth and have $5 billion. Every generation has the same amount of wealth. So the game has already been rigged from the start. So when you play their game, you'll always lose because there's always someone with more money than you in the Matrix. Pardon? There's always someone with more money than you in the Matrix. They print the money. So if you play their game, you can't win. But if you create your own game, you can win.
You've been granted another
If you tune into their page, you are appreciated. Shout out to you.
Or real fire this time. Thank you.
I was an artist. I'm a producer. I'm like, gosh, I want to make it in the music industry. This, that. Then I realized you got to sign all of these contracts. You got to give your soul away. I said, ain't nobody got time for that. But I realized that what is stopping me from creating my own platform? What did Busta Rhymes say? If I ain't going to be part of the greatest, I got to be the greatest myself. We got to be the greatest ourselves, deep divers. So playing their game, you'll always lose because they created this game. They know all the tricks, the rules, because they created it. So you're trying to beat someone who created this game. You'll never win. And that's what many people are doing every single day. You're trying to play someone else's game better than they play their game. You don't have a chance. They created this game. And that's why they know how to rig it so it can work out in their favor. So you have to empower yourself to create your own game. In other words, create your own reality and be free. Smash that like button, deep divers. Smash that like button.
Thank you for your monetary support.
Smash that like button, deep divers. And when you remind yourself that you got to read the players. Absolutely. Absolutely, Michael, you are appreciated. Don't be the amateur at the poker table. Read the players, not the cards. Slow motion this side. Read the players, not the cards. Greed blinds people to strategy. Oh my gosh. See, these are, even when you play poker, all of these things, you can learn the psychology. You never focus on the cards. You read the players. Read the players, not the cards. Greed blinds people to strategy. Oh my gosh. That's a slow motion. I might screenshot that, right? Use it in another video. But that is so true. And we've got to remind ourselves we've been distracted for so long in this game that we've been focusing on the cards instead of the players. We've been arguing amongst each other instead of actually taking a look at who's really running this show. And this is why you have to dive into the grand design of everything. You have to remind yourself the people who created this reality, this 3D world that they have everyone plugged up in, are people who spent a long time designing this thing. It didn't happen overnight. It's very clever, very sophisticated, and it knows how to draw you in it. So you free yourself when you say, actually, instead of being in their game, because I'll always lose in their game, I'm going to create my own game. And that's why I told you about the Scientology, right? When I read that whole book, Dianetics, I said, oh my gosh, this is the guy who created his own religion, Scientology. Right? He said, you know what? I'm going to create my own thing. I'm going to make up this and make up that. People bought into it. Because that's what happens when you say, actually, I'm creating my own reality. It can manifest. But you don't want to be caught up in a riptide. You don't want to be caught up in someone else's game. You want to be a master of your own. Doomsday, deep divers. It's about to get crazy. Warning. I told you. Right now, people see the writing on the wall. You can run, but you can't hide. It's in your face. That, oh my gosh, this game has consequences. You see, the people in the Squid Games, they just thought it was just a game. Then people started to die. Oh my gosh, what's going on? It's exactly what's happening in this world. People thought it was just a game. Ignorance is bliss. But then people started to die. They realized, gosh, it's not just a game. So you got to remind yourself that you have to get out of this game and create your own, because just like in the Squid Games, people wearing that mask, that was symbolic of people, what people are doing in higher levels. When you have all the money, what did the old guy say in Squid Games? You are just like someone with no money, right? When you have all the money in the world, you're like someone with no money. And now you want to step into voyeurism. You want to start looking at human beings and doing experiments and just seeing how they can kill each other and all of these things. Just like the Squid Games, right? They were just, it was entertainment to see people playing the tug of war. And if they lose, they fall onto these spikes. That was just entertainment for them. That's exactly what's happening in the world right now. And the doomsday is to say, comes a point in time where you say enough is enough. Comes a point in time where you say, we can no longer contribute to our own demise. We have to stand up in our power, stand up in our freedom, and remind yourself that we all created this with our consent. And if you want a better world, you have to be able to see where the world is heading. Where do you think the world is heading? That's the question. If you haven't even thought about that question, that's why it's about to get crazy. Slow motion this side. I said you have to take a look at where the world is heading. Now, if you haven't even thought about that question, that's why it's about to get crazy. Don't worry about it. Just keep on dancing. Keep on saying ignorance is bliss. You'll see what's going to happen. And you're going to be in for a rude awakening. But when you ask yourself, where is the world heading? You now have a chance to reclaim your freedom, reclaim your power, and say, actually, I'm getting off the train. I told you, there's a train moving at 200 miles per hour. Many people are still inside, not realizing it's heading for a cliff. And it's time for you to remind yourself, you need to find a way to stop that train. The momentum makes it extremely difficult to stop. And this is the reason why humanity, based on their ego, have created these conditions many people find themselves in. The great Krishnamurti said, it is no measure of health to be well adjusted to a profoundly sick society. It is no measure of health to be well adjusted to a profoundly sick society. Krishnamurti was aware. Osho was aware. Many people have woken up out of the dream spell to say, actually, it's time to get off that train. You here are now waking up to that fact as well. And this is the reason why we are creating the new earth. But a lot of people still say, I don't even know what the hell he's talking about. The fluoride stairs. And this is the reason why it's about to get crazy. Because a lot of people still do not think there's a problem. So don't worry about it. But if you have the eyes to see, you know that humanity has consumed way too much alcohol. A bad hangover is coming. A bad hangover is coming. Many people have said, you know what? It's time to stop drinking right now. We got to sober up. Some people are still drinking, not realizing tomorrow you got to wake up and it's going to be extremely hard to do that. Considering everything you did yesterday, this is where humanity is right now. Everything that's happening is happening for a reason. It's happening because of our own ignorance, our own consent, and our own recklessness. It's happening because we said, it is not my problem. It is your problem. You're now starting to see that because it's affecting you. So how we empower ourselves is to say, each one of us, we have to do our part. We have to say, wait a minute, what am I doing to bring about more love on the planet? What am I doing to help inspire someone? What am I doing to help impact someone's life in a positive way? This is how humanity can reclaim its power, freedom, and mental health back. You have to now do something. Everybody on this live stream, you have to do something. Because if you say, I'm just going to watch Netflix and chill, you're the